What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figure it out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a fine, lovely Thursday overcast afternoon in Wisconsin. I say that very facetiously because every day seems to be a very overcast, raining, cold lately. Well, when I say cold, I mean 60. And here in Wisconsin, our summer weather lasts about 2 months or so. So, hey, everybody, I just wanted to remind all from listening yesterday, the three-way interview I did with Nubia, Randy Alexander, and Gabriel Reyes, has now been archived. So I would strongly encourage you guys to go ahead and take a look at all the different offerings that they have. They are multi-talents in the world of publicity, and I cannot thank them enough for their time, for their efforts, for their clientele, for the creativity they bring to the table is just beyond fascinating to me. So please give them a moment to check it out. Without further ado, I see David's been waiting on the line for a while for us, so I'm just going to get right to it so this way we can get him off a hold and get to talking to him. Hi, David.
Hi, Cindy. How are you?
I'm nervous. You're a big deal. Anytime I have big deals on my show, I get extremely nervous, and you're a big deal.
Are we really? I didn't think we were.
Are you serious? First of all, I don't think you guys hear this enough, meaning that when you started off back in 2012 and you had this idea to create this particular business, I'm sure you were thinking to yourself, oh, my God, is this going to work? What's going to happen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I give credit to anybody, really, who goes out on their own and tries to establish something, and you've done amazing. I mean, you literally have done amazing with the product that you've established.
Thank you.
I don't know if you know this or not. Well, and I'm sure, you see this clearly. So let's talk about that. That's actually a great starting point. So obviously the company began in 2012, but before that, David was a person doing other things. So I'd like you, if you don't mind, maybe just give us a bit of background information about who you were prior to the establishment of Wow Gear.
Sure, that'd be great. Well, I have a degree in fine arts and mechanical engineering, so I have a left brain capability. And for years, I worked for major companies, big Fortune 500s, and also small entrepreneurial companies. And during those years, I developed a lot of skills in developing product and bringing product to market, commercializing products. But it was always for somebody else, someone else's benefit. And I just got tired of doing it in 2011. And we decided to develop this product and commercialize it and go to market with it. And it was a long road to get there. It was a big step because, anybody leaving the comfort of getting a paycheck every week to not getting a paycheck is quite a drastic change in your life. But my business partner and myself, we actually made that step together, and here we are today. We're in 50 countries worldwide.
Right.
And we've grown every year since we started the company, and we're still growing, and we're launching new lines this year and next year as well. So
that's so exciting.
But,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, obviously, to those that don't know, obviously, Wow Gear is geared literally to individuals of a smaller size. So I guess I had to ask you because I wasn't aware of your background, meaning were your own children, assuming you have children, a motivating force behind creating something like this? Or where did you get the initial concept from?
Well, the idea, we first started out with the 360 drinking cup, which we basically revolutionized the baby drinking category in 2013 with it when we launched it. But prior to that, my business partner and I did a lot of research in the industry and looked at a lot of drinking cups out there for kids, adults, et cetera. And there was none that were really easy to work with that were truly spill-free. And you had to either push a button or a lever and in order to drink. So there wasn't the ease of drinking. And the majority of them still leaked, even though they claim they didn't leak, or you twist a button or keep it closed. So we had worked with another gentleman that had started to develop the 360 valve, is never able to commercialize it, and he never was able to actually get the product to a format that he could actually introduce it into the retail space. So we took over the product and the technology, and finalized all of the engineering part of it, and then we launched it in 2013. So
Gotcha.
so it wasn't a straightforward start from scratch, but we took something that was started already and really brought it to the next stage.
Well, and that fascinates me a little bit because I'm more of the liberal arts side, so my brain is like 150% creative. So I got to ask this question back to the 360 drinking edge. So here we all are, like normal people, and we're sitting in here and we're thinking to ourselves, okay, so how does David, for instance, come up with this 360 drinking age? Meaning, like, I'm picturing a room full of scientists all looking around. I'd like to talk about the process itself. You know what I mean? Just how did you establish
Sure.
something like that? And obviously, of course, we want to talk about the oral development benefit of this because that's huge, I think, personally, as a mom myself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first category we launched it into was obviously with kids, and the methodology we worked with was trying to develop a product that allowed children to drink from a 360-degree edge, so they can be familiar with an open cup, but still not have the pitfalls of spillage. So when parents try to take a child from a spout or a nippled bottle, the process is pretty laborious in terms of trying to teach them how to drink out of a 360, regular open cup. So the idea was to come up with something that simulated a big person's cup, so they feel like they're big people, even though they're small, and to allow them to practice drinking from a 360 edge. And it worked wonderful. I mean, children were able to grasp how to use it pretty quickly, and become natural products for themselves. But
now you may not have
the
as
well. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was saying that in terms of the oral and health benefits of the product, that was the secondary element. And what we basically did was eliminate anything that had a spout or a straw with our cup. And as you know, when you're drinking from a spout, you have the issue of orthodontia issues, distortion of the jaw, and distortion of your teeth. And that happens at a very early age, starts very young. When children start using pacifiers and then move into spouted cups as they get into the toddler range. So we wanted something that was more healthy. And with our valve, actually, when you drink from our edge, it helps to strengthen the tongue muscle. And there's a lot of orofacial myofunctional therapists that are using our cups to actually help children that have some form of jaw distortion, and also people with sleep apnea, because the natural function of drinking from our cup helps to strengthen the tongue muscle, which is very important in those two cases.
Oh, of course. Well, and the other thing that I was thinking about, and you may not have an answer to this question, but I have had 4 children, so one of my children at least had been nursed at some point in time. So have you had any stories or any feedback from women that initially started nursing their children? Because sometimes the transition from nursing to mom to any form of a bottle or a cup or whatever have you can be a bit challenging for them. So I was just curious if you've had anybody come to you that's had that experience and said, hey, they went from being home nursed to all of a sudden to trying this, and this was just a great cure for things, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I have not had, and we get a lot of feedback from parents. We haven't actually had anybody give us feedback directly on that, but we do get a lot of feedback back from people just saying, though, it's a very easy transition for their children when they use our cups, and it's a very natural process. So
good, very good. Okay, now I know that to those folks that are listening and that may not know, you are based in Santa Barbara, California, but you also have an affiliate in Norway. So I found that rather interesting because I see companies all the time that'll have a base here and somewhere else. So I'm curious, why the election for Norway versus Italy versus somewhere else? I was just curious about that.
Well,
you know what I mean? I'm like, Norway, that's nice.
Yeah, my business partner is from Norway. His name is Eric Peterson. And we were introduced to each other through a mutual friend back in 2011. And I flew over there, met with Eric, and we had a natural attraction to each other in terms of our engineering and industrial design backgrounds, and we had the idea for the product at the time through another person that was had developed it originally in Norway, and that's when we formed the company. So at that point,
nice.
So
that makes sense.
we knew there was a
yeah.
big success. Yeah, we knew it would be a big success. We saw the benefit right away with the product. So
I Gotcha. I see. Now, just out of curiosity, the only product that I'm aware of clearly is the one that we're talking about today. But you yourself, have you been involved in other ventures, other products, other businesses, other things just remotely relative to product production? I was just curious.
Yes, I worked for M&M Mars, Calcan Pet Foods. I was in charge of their packaging for some of their cat and dog food lines. I also, prior to this, I worked for a startup called Only Hearts Club. We developed a wholesome doll line and pet plush pet category. We actually we started that in 2004. By 2008, 2010, we were probably one of the hottest doll lines out there because everything that was out there, like Barbie and Bratz, they were all very edgy. Children, they had high shirts and tattoos, and so we ended up coming out with a wholesome doll line, which parents really loved, and it basically provided a source for children to have a wholesome view of growing up. And we had a whole storybook line, but we were very successful. The line 2010, we were about a $20 million company. From 2004, we started with nothing at that point. But I left in 2011 just to, again, at that time I was looking to do something on my own instead of doing stuff for other people. So
I gotcha. I understand completely. Now, talk to me a little bit. We're going to backtrack a little bit because, again, I'm technology stupid, and I'm the first to admit it. So, obviously, I want to pick your brain a little bit because this is what you do for a living all the time. So, obviously, you came up with your original concept. Now, when it comes to products like this, I assume that there are license regulations, but more importantly, at what I call trial and error things, which is like when you develop a booze line, for instance. You go off to try to develop alcohol. It's not a one and done. Obviously, you have to formulate what you're going to do, get together with a chemist, get all sorts of FDA regulations, et cetera. So to those that are listening in that have this wonderful, great idea that they want to run off and patent and create, tell me a bit about the actual creation experience, meaning from start to finish. I don't want to sugarcoat the fact that this is something that's real work that does take time. Or did it? I mean, did it kind of all solidify itself rather quickly?
It happened quickly only because I had probably 20 years of experience doing it. So, but we still had to go through the trials and tribulations of developing the product, getting it tested, doing the testing, and making sure it's consumer ready. So it is a long process. It's not something you can come up with the idea in one day and then have it in the market within 6 months. It's definitely a 1 to 2 year process. And you have to do all your work. I mean, if you don't, you could have a disaster at retail in terms of recalls, et cetera. So it's really important to do your due diligence.
And you're dealing with kids, clearly. So obviously there's a safety issue here amongst other things that you have to be paying attention to, et cetera. So let's talk about some of the benefits I've heard about your product. I've actually read a number of different reviews. I've seen all sorts of different things. Now, when it comes to colorization, those of us that are female know this because, of course, we like to have 75 colors to choose from, just like shoes. So when it came to colorization of cups and other products, et cetera, why was it important for you to incorporate so many different colors into your products? Because you could have gotten away with 2 or 3 and it would have been fine. Let's face it, if you're a baby, do you really care? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a great question. I came out of the toy industry from the prior role I was in before I started this company. And in toys, color is very important, and especially, coming out of a plush and toy line. So I knew the importance of that. And when I looked at the kids' cups out there, as you said, there was maybe 2 or 3 colors in each brand's line. And a lot of them weren't that vibrant. They were dull. And the other thing that I learned in toys is that kids love to personalize things. And so what we decided to do was to come out with 6 colors. And the colored cups, each colored cup had a different colored top. And the idea was that the child could mix and match the valves, the valve collar, the cup to come up with their own personalized cup themselves, or just buy it generally right, as it is in terms of our color size and options that we provide. So
Gotcha.
It was a big hit, and everybody started chasing us after we did that. Everybody started coming out with more vibrant colors and more options as we moved into the marketplace. It was a strong reaction to it by parents.
That is awesome.
But
now,
the other important thing with color too is that it's not one color doesn't necessarily provide everybody in a culture with the color options that they want. For instance, in the U.S., we have certain colors that work really well in the U.S., and then in Asia, those colors don't necessarily have the same ranking. For instance, pink and blue are very popular here in the U.S., but in Asia, yellow is very popular in those countries. So where yellow in the U.S. is probably the last in the sequence of colors. You're looking at popularity.
Well, and the other thing, too, is I want to talk about the fact that the composition of the cup itself is made of a significant number of safe materials. And obviously, for one, it's clear that you're dealing with kids, so of course it's necessary that you have those safe materials. But how do you come up with the proper, or I should say correct combination relative to your products? Because I imagine that you have to do some serious thinking about what's safe, what's proven, has a proven track record of safety in terms of children.
Yeah, definitely. The common material in children's cups are polypropylene and silicone. Prior to this whole BPA rage in the U.S. and around the world, cups were made out of polycarbonate, which contained BPA. And there was a big, that was banned. Polycarbonate was banned in the U.S., and they had to come up with alternative materials. But PP had always been sort of a mainstay for children's products is a qualified food-safe product for children and adults. Polycarbonate went away, and now there's a new material out there called Triton. It's an Eastman Chemical product that replaced polycarbonate. It's BPA-free. It's phthalate-free. It has no PVCs, and that's becoming a popular material as well. So when we first started, obviously it comes down to price too. These materials have all different price ranges, and you have to think of the proper combination of materials when you're trying to get the right price at retail. So it's a lot of work, but we went with what was out there, what people were using, what we knew was food safe, and met all of the U.S. and European and Asian standards. So we wanted to make sure we had a product that hit the most advanced food requirements out there. So we meet all the world standards. We test every standard in the world. So it's an expensive and lengthy process for us, but we make sure it's food safe for children.
You bet. And what we've also mentioned, which is, of course, they're not only easy to drink from, but the other component being is I've heard tons and tons of women talking about how efficient it is when it comes to actually cleaning. The actual cleaning component to it is just one and done, basically, a couple seconds, whatever have you and such. I'm assuming that was done purposely, meaning or somehow you developed this magic way where it was just so much easier to clean. Because I see women, that's one of the big things for them is that your product is so very easy to clean and they don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it.
You're absolutely right, and that was one of the main focuses when we developed the line. We wanted something that was easy to drink from, real easy to clean, and really easy to assemble and disassemble. If you try to assemble and disassemble our cup, you can do it in basically seconds.
Right.
And the other thing that we wanted to make sure was every part of the drinking system had to be fully exposed for cleaning. Nothing hidden, no hidden orifices, and no gaps. We wanted to make sure that they had full access to both the cup, the valve collar, and the valve itself. And it's one of the most easiest cups out there to clean. It really is.
You bet. You bet. And I've heard this over and over again. And the other thing is, so now women that are listening in, or even males or parents in general that are listening in, and they're trying to picture this cup that you have. So I know that it does not have a spout or a button or a lever to it. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, okay, walk us through this because most people don't have a visual picture of this. So they go to the store, tell them what they're going to physically see when they're looking at your product so they kind of get a bird's eye view without actually being on your site.
Well, first of all, they're going to see the word Wow Cup on the package. So they need to make sure they buy that product.
Yes.
But second of all, they're going to see we provide on our packaging, and we're the only ones that do it. We actually provide we call it a travel lid or a freshness lid, so that when you put the product in your bag or a diaper bag, you can snap it onto the drinking area. So what you'll see on the package is a 360-degree top, and it looks like there's a cap already on it, but there isn't. That's actually the valve. And then when you open it up and actually start using it, the interaction with the valve, I can go through that with you if you want, but is very easy to drink from. So what happens is when you drink from it, and with gravity, just like a regular, normal open cup, you tilt it up in the air. If you tip it upside down, when it's filled with a liquid, it will not spill. And when you grab it and put your mouth on the drinking edge, so your upper lip is on the silicone valve and your bottom lip is on the valve collar. That's the polypropylene collar. And when you raise it up and suck on the edge and put a little bit of lip pressure on the top silicone valve, the liquid will flow. And it'll flow only in the part that's in your mouth. Everywhere else it stays sealed. So you could be physically laying on your back on the floor or on a couch or in bed, and you can physically drink from this and not worry about it spilling all over you. It's a very easy process. Very easy process.
That's awesome.
And then when you stop drinking, it just seals. It just seals automatically. So.
And I like that factor, obviously, because who doesn't want a spill-free cup? Because I keep saying all the time when I'm drinking my wine, I'm like, I notice how no matter how I try, no matter what cup I use, that wine still tends to spill out a little bit here or there. So maybe I should be drinking it out of a Wow cup, which my friends would be
it'll
laughing
work,
at me at 48 years of age. We don't drink out of a Wow cup, but okay. Which reminds me, we have to talk about this. This is so cool. If you wouldn't mind explaining where the Wow name came from, because I love that story. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, when we first started the company, we had developed some prototypes and we had them ready to go. And we did we visited a lot of countries and we demonstrated the product to a lot of people. And everybody that reacted to the product always said, wow, no matter if we were in Asia, Europe, or the U.S. It was really amazing. Everybody said, wow. And we kind of paid attention to that, the fact that they really liked the product. And then the day we were trying to figure out what we were going to call the company and the cup and the product, we were thinking, and all of a sudden we said, well, why don't we just call it Wow Gear and call it the Wow Cup? Because everybody knows what the word wow means internationally, so it'll be well recognized. And so we therefore came up with the name Wow Cup. So it's based on the reaction of the consumers. So
this is neat.
Very interesting.
And the other aspect I want to look towards is, because I know when you originally started to create these, you wanted something that was both functional as well as fashionable. So clearly addressing the color issue is one thing. Is there anything else that you've added to your products fashion-wise, meaning that you can just tell folks about the look, the design, anything that came into consideration when you were completing it from a fashion standpoint, outside of color, that is?
Yeah, we wanted something simple. We didn't want to get too, if you look at a lot of the cups out there, they're very complicated in shape and style. But we wanted something that was also ergonomic in terms of, the interaction with the product. Because, we were dealing with an age range that is 9 months to about 8 years old. So each child that interacts with it has to interact with it similarly. So, we paid attention to that. In terms of fashion, we do color trend analysis every year, and we look at what the most popular colors are out there. We listen to consumers. Consumers are telling us. We started out with the solid cups. Consumers started telling us, hey, wow, we'd love to see it be more translucent so we can see the liquid. We don't have to open it up to see what the liquid's inside. So then we came out with our line of translucent cups a year later. And this coming year, we're coming out with a whole new line of redesigned cups in 2018, and we have a new bottle line as well, a new line for adults coming out with our 360 valve. We've been told by parents that, hey, we love our kids' cups. What about us? We have spillage issues as well. So, so we're launching our Wow Gear sports line, active lifestyle line next year as well. Yeah.
That's awesome, actually. Because I see you have the products. They're divided out, folks, that you're listening. He's got the Wow Baby, which is for 9 months plus, the Wow Kids, which is for 12 months and up. And then, of course, you have your Juicy Wow Cup as well as the Snack Pals also. So here's a good question for those of us who are parents. We obviously, one of the big things we're always looking at is being cost conscious. So in your opinion, or I'm assuming you've done market study on this, where does your product land from a financial standpoint in terms of families like us, meaning how affordable is it as compared to other stuff out in the market of similar type?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're a small company, so obviously we have issues with, in terms of volume, and we don't get the big volume discounts like other big companies have. But we managed to price point it at a comfortable range at a impulse price point. When we first started out, we were at $9.99 for the cup. It's probably at the high end of the cup range. But one thing that we kept in mind when we developed this product, we wanted the parent to buy something of value that they knew it would last a long time. There's a lot of cups out there. People will go through cups on a monthly basis where they break down, they don't work after a while. So we wanted something that lasted, and we actually test our products when we do our evaluations on our products. We actually test it beyond the test standard. So for drop testing and for other chemical and et cetera tests, we make sure that our products meet beyond the standard requirements. For instance, when we do a drop test on ours, we do it at 56 inches. At 72 inches. The typical standard is 56 inches. So we go well beyond to make sure the product is reliable. But we also have valves on here that are silicone that sometimes you get lost, or a dog will eat it, or it gets put down into the bottom part of a dishwasher. So we sell replacement valves. So you've purchased something that that you can actually, just like the bottle and the nipple kind of an idea, where you can actually just replace the nipples but keep the bottle itself. So so it's a high quality, high value product, So.
Oh, you betcha. Now, in terms of those folks that are listening out there, and then they go onto your website and they go ahead and they order something, we should probably talk about guarantee, meaning that is there some sort of a warranty guarantee on that type of product, et cetera, because some companies will do that, obviously. So I kind of want to give the folks a sense of, okay, if you go out and you buy this and let's say all of a sudden it shows up and it's broken or whatever happens, what is your company's policy in reference to something like that?
Right. Under normal use conditions, we will basically guarantee the cup. If they're using it normally and something happens to it, then we'll replace it or we'll replace one of the parts. No problem. No questions asked. We've had people from, top of buildings and stuff, and those aren't normal use conditions. So, there's certain conditions that, or they don't take care of it in terms of cleaning it, et cetera, properly. And, we have cleaning instructions online in our package. But again, for the most part, we always try to make the customer happy and provide a replacement or a replacement part. It's for us, it's an important process.
You bet, of course. Now, before we get to talking about, this is, for me, one of the big things here in terms of, let me just throw out a few things, folks, just so you're listening here. You've been featured on some of the following, which most of us recognize, meaning Good Morning America, The Today Show. You've been featured on the Hallmark Channel, Home and Family TV show, NBC News 11. My God, you've literally been on just about everything. And you've won more awards than I can even name. But some of them, I guess one of the big things I wanted to ask about, because a lot of people come on my show and they're accomplished in many ways, meaning that you sell a lot of volume, you win a lot of awards, etc. So for you as a business owner, when somebody hands you all of these different awards, obviously it's telling you flat out, we as moms, we as people, we recognize you. So to me, if you could pick out one of these in particular, what's been the highest accolade or what's been the biggest reward outside of people enjoying your product that you've managed to achieve by having this business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I look at it, our designs are received really well by a lot of the award companies and the TV shows that we've been on. But the one that's most memorable, that means the most to us, is the feedback we get from parents and children. The other day, I got an amazing email from this woman that the child had a cleft palate, and it was so emotional, the letter. You could literally see the woman crying writing this letter. And she was saying her child finally was able to drink out of a cup after 5 years. And, and they said it was our cup that helped the child drink from the cup. And, to hear that kind of a story, and we hear people that have like cerebral palsy that drink from our cup saying, this is the first time in my life I felt like a real adult drinking. And this is like a 35-year-old woman that I felt like a human being drinking from a cup, because the cup is it's a spill-free cup, but it's not a sippy cup, which people with disabilities normally end up drinking out of. And so those stories are the ones that drive us. Those are the ones that make us come in here every day and work 18-hour days, because we know we're making a difference in people's lives. And they're just very moving. They're just very moving stories.
Oh, I believe that. And since you brought that up, actually, let me throw this out there. And if you don't have the answer, that's perfectly fine. But I do want to address this because my son, who is now almost 13 years old, for about 3.5 years, he was an ongoing neurology patient. He was having seizures on and off. And to those, obviously, who are listening in who have patients as well at home, clearly when you're in the midst of having a seizure, there's tongue biting, there's other things, etc. Would you be able to ascertain, or at least be able to tell us, yeah, I'm thinking that the WOW cup would still be safe for them, etc.? Because obviously if you're in the midst of having a seizure, is this something that will still be helpful to them? Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm just throwing the option out there to see if you might know.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that. I could consult with some of our orofacial and myofunctional therapists and oral therapists, but I'm not. But the nice thing about our product is that once you stop drinking from it, it seals automatically, so no more liquid's going to come out either. So,
nice.
Okay. But I couldn't address that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Now, in terms of availability, folks, obviously I know that you're at most of the major chains, meaning you're at Walmart and CVS, Kmart, Target, Shopko. Pretty much everything you can think of, including Toys R Us, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Walgreens. But I know for those folks, because I have a nice-sized Canadian base, it's a little bit different, right? You have it at different chains in Canada than you do here in the States. That's correct?
Right. That's true.
Okay.
We are. We have a distributor in Canada, and we're in Loblaws and a lot of the major pharmacy and retail chains up there as well. And we're in a lot of mom and pop shops too. So boutique baby shops, et cetera. So we're quite well known up there as well in Canada.
Very nice, very nice. And the other thing, too, is I wasn't 100% clear when I was researching you, because I'm under the presumption that over the course since 2012 up until this point, if people go to, let's say, a baby show, where you have a baby expo, et cetera, are they going to find participants from your company actually there? Do you actually do the hands-on thing where you still send out, like, brand ambassadors, set up booths, things like that? Because I know companies do that at times.
Yeah, we do participate in the formal retailer shows where the retailers come.
Okay.
We do one in Germany and we do one in the U.S. But they've now started at these shows having the last AV Consumer Days as well, like the JPMA show. But we have sales reps around the United States that also participate in the local regional shows, and so they'll be there with tabletops and with our products and displaying them as well around the country.
Very nice.
For instance, we're doing one in Boston in September called Drool Baby. It's a big show there. I think it's Magic Beans is the retailer that's hosting it in Boston. So.
Very nice. Well, and I have to ask the question clearly because I couldn't remember if you clarified this or not. So in terms of all 50 states, are you in all 50 states at this point, or are you missing anybody?
I've never really looked at if we're in every state. We're pretty close. If you look at the major chains, and we have certain hot spots around the country with that are really saturated as well.
Oh, of course. So I have to ask the obvious question, and listening to all of this talk about the WOW gear, so I have to ask David if at any given point in time he has any inclination to go back to doing the liberal arts side of things. Just because now you're such a business person, I think people lose sight of the liberal arts stuff. So are you creative in any manner? Not that this isn't creative, but meaning writing, painting, singing, all that good stuff. Is there an actual person under there, that enjoys creative sorts of things?
Yeah, there is. I try to keep up with it on my personal time. I don't have much of that, but I do try to do that. I love working with my hands too, so I do a lot of construction work as well, like at home and doing remodeling and stuff too. So, but I'm heavily involved in the design side of the business in terms of designing the product, doing the the fashion trend analysis as well. So it's always there. It's always being used. So I try to keep it alive.
You betcha. And you've created this absolutely wonderful product. And I can't tell you, I literally am just reading these tons and tons of comments. I've talked to people that have had your product before, and everyone is just so pleasantly pacified by everything that you offer them in such a wonderful way. I don't want to forget to ask you, did you give us a specific timeline in terms of when new products would be coming out or new portions of the line so we know when to expect that?
Sure. So Snack Pals, we just launched that in early spring here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
That's a snack dispenser. It's a portion control snack dispenser. And it's the first portion control snack dispenser that's out in the market. Where you can, there's a certain portion stored in the lower cup. The upper bowl is empty. When it's open, it doesn't spill. When you shut the lid, shake it a couple of times, the actual snack will go up into the upper bowl, and one mouthful is served to the child, not the whole bowl at the bottom. So
sure.
So that was launched in early spring. This fall, we're launching our Wow Gear sports bottle line. It's for adults, and we have a beautiful line coming out that features our 360 drinking edge. But again, the features of it being real easy to clean, real easy to drink from, transposes over to adults as well. So, and then next year we're actually coming out with a line for the healthcare industry, so people with disabilities. Again, a natural feature, easy to clean, easy to drink from, et cetera, and non-spill. So. We're trying to provide solutions from 9 months to 99 years old. That's our goal. So,
I was just going to say, so that in that last part, meaning would that be inclusive? Because I was just thinking to myself, I wonder if seniors are involved in this, because obviously as we age and progress, they have issues with drinking, swallowing, things like that. So I assume that you're going to be addressing people in that particular gender, somewhere between 70 and 90, like you were saying.
Exactly. Yeah, we do absolutely. And we have the solutions we're coming out with that category also takes into consideration motor skills and, grasping the actual product itself. So we've come up with some pretty innovative and unique means of actually doing that. So, and keeping it fashion trendy, because there's no dignity in adulthood when you're drinking from a sippy cup. So ours are very stylish.
You are not lying. That's awesome. I love it. Well, let me tell you folks how to be able to find you. I'm going to read through a bunch of different places to find you and your company, David. The website itself is www.wowcup.com. You have a Facebook page which is entitled Wow Gear. You are on Twitter, and that's @WowCup. You're also on YouTube. You yourself, I know, and I found her on LinkedIn. Also, I wanted to ask, is there an Instagram handle you have set up? Because I don't think I found that.
I think it's Wow Cups with the P-S at the end.
Got it.
Because there's a Wow Cup, but he had it before us, but it doesn't make any sense. So it doesn't.
I understand.
I think it's plural.
I do.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I don't want to forget to remind you, David, of course. And this gentleman's name, and I'm hoping I get this right, it's David Tognarelli. Did I say that right? I was afraid to say that.
That's correct.
Oh, it is.
No,
I got it.
Good.
Yay!
You did really well. Thank you.
Well, I tried because, most of my friends are Italian, and I'm like, if I get it wrong, you're probably going to kill me. So I'm like, oh, my gosh. So in case you want to find him, the Tognarelli name is spelled Tognarelli. And, David, I want to do a reminder to you that usually about 2 hours after the show is done live, which we're just about to finish, wait 2 hours, and I'll send over the link to you so that this way your fans and followers can listen in, and it's archived for all of time. I don't want to forget to mention Andrea Pass. If it wasn't for her at the lovely marketing maven, I would not have you on my show, and my apologies for having to
she's a wonderful lady.
She is such a wonderful lady. She's a little serious. I was like, sometimes I do stuff purposely just to get her to laugh because she's very intense. And I'm like, Andrea, it's just life. We're all going to get out of it. Andrea, I love you to death in case you're listening. And God, I hope I did okay because I'm like, I feel like I'm in the doghouse with her lately. So I'm trying to do better. David, I hope I've done a wonderful representation of your company. I'm truly impressed. I wish I could tell you that my kids were at the age where they needed it. But they're not. Yay! Which means I'm very close to the end in a good way. My kids are getting big. Your parents for life, but I mean, one of them's almost 13 and the other one is 11. So obviously they're pretty self-sufficient in terms of that stuff. But if you ever do a wine thing, I'm telling you, those of us that indulge on occasion are like, God, I would love to have something that's fashionable looking, that is not going to spill. You know what I mean? Like when you're standing out and about or at a party or whatever have you. It's one of those things. But kudos to you. I mean, I think it is so impressive that you are very, very hands-on with what you do, and you've created something literally that's a work of art. I consider it to be a work of art and a work of love because literally the end result. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm just being very honest because your clientele are little people, and the people you're really trying to impress are hugely, not only are they affected by that, but they're better because of it, because of all these benefits. So as a mom, I say thank you so much for developing something that happens to help, I can talk today, so many other children. And please know, once your other lines come out, et cetera, or if you have another product launch, you're welcome to come back on anytime. I think this was just delightful.
Great, Cindy. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed myself talking with you.
Well, thank you, David. That's wonderful. Yes, like I said, I'll send the link over in a couple of hours. I think it'll take, and definitely don't be a stranger, and I'll certainly let you know if I'm out and about and around at one of the shows and I can check out your stuff firsthand.
Yeah, fantastic. That'd be great to see you in person.
All right, David. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Thank you, Cindy. Take care. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Tell me he was just not absolutely fascinating, right? I think it's always so cool that one of the best things about having companies come on like this is when they are doing something, well, I'm always about doing something wonderful and relevant for children. So, like I said, not only is he producing a product that's, helpful and pleasing to the eye when it comes to a parent's perspective, but when it comes to safety and overall serenity of what the children are looking for in terms of, obviously happy baby, happy mommy, happy home. It's just that simple. So, again, my dear thanks to you, David, for producing such a wonderful product. Again, he can be found. The website is www.wowcup.com. Twitter is @wowcup. The Facebook page is Wow Gear is the name of it. He has a LinkedIn profile, and again, his name is David Tognarelli. He is on YouTube. And then, of course, his Instagram, as he was mentioning, I believe is Wow and Cups. I obviously don't want to get that wrong, but we heard it from the horse's mouth, so I want to say that I'm on pretty safe ground there to be able to say something like that. One more time, I don't want to forget to mention the absolutely fabulous, phenomenal, and multi-talented Andrea Pass. Andrea Pass is Vice President of Media Relations of Marketing Maven, and without her, I probably wouldn't have some of the clients that I do today. So, Andrea, huge thanks from me to you. Thanks for your patience. Thanks to your absolutely phenomenal clients. Anybody who is looking for representation, they are one of the best, period. It's www.marketingmavenpr.com. Last thing I want to mention to you folks, because I need to get off of the air because, well, we're all finished for the day. Yay! Lucky me, I get to go work for 4 or 5 hours. If any of you folks are looking for me this evening, obviously, of course, it's bike night, so come down to Harley-Davidson Museum. Bike night is starting, I believe, at 5. Little me here is going to be there from 7 till 9, and then go ahead and check my show page or my personal page in terms of who's playing this evening from a musical perspective. Tomorrow, I want to remind everybody that I have one more show for this week, and that's going to be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Lovely young lady by the name of Danielle Taylor. She has a very moving, monumental backstory, actually, as it relates to how she became a musician. She's doing phenomenal things in California. She's got a serene, soulful voice, and I'm just so excited. She's the cutest little thing, too. Young performer. Her name is Danielle Taylor. And, again, that's 11 o'clock Central Standard Time tomorrow. Again, huge thanks. Huge, huge, huge thanks to the publicist, to the people listening in, to my fans, my followers, to my friends and my supporters. I always say it, and I'll say it again. I'm really nowhere or nothing without all of you. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be back on here tomorrow at 11. You guys have a great day. Take care.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.